start recording. I'm gonna share the screen so that everybody can see. Okay, and now let's open up Microsoft Word. Hello. Yes, yes, for those of you that came a little bit later, we're gonna do a general review of what we've seen this semester, starting with Microsoft Word, okay? The goal of this session is to help you in your preparation for the exam. Okay, so let's go with a blank document. Let's go with a blank document, then let's see what options we have available to us. Okay, so we can write simple text. Should go with a capital letters for the nouns. Okay, so starting with this tab right here, which is the home tab. Sorry. Yes, what we can do is change the font of the text like so. Notice that what I've done here is I've selected the text before I applied the changes. Okay, so if I change the font now, it won't be applied to the text that I've already written because I haven't selected it before I chose the new font. Okay, so it keeps the old font for the text that I've already written, and it applies the new font for the text that I'm about to write. Okay, notice the difference between the two fonts. Okay, so we notice the difference between the two fonts. Okay, so going forward, if I don't change the font type, I would be writing in Times New Roman. Okay, the text the text will be written in the new font that I've selected. Okay, just like so. Let's say I want to apply the same font to the entire text. What I have to do is to select the entire text that I want to apply the font to, and then I choose a font. Okay, now let's go with Arial Black. Okay, same thing goes to any other changes. Okay, let's say, for example, I want to increase the font size. It doesn't do anything to the text that I've written before, but if I select the text and then change the size, notice it gives me a preview of what the text would look like using a font that size, okay? And then when I select the appropriate size, it applies it directly, okay? Now, it keeps the size that I chose for the text that I'm about to write, okay? But as we've seen previously, for example, if I want to underline everything I write, I just click on the U underline here. It gives you a simple drop down menu so you can choose the style of the line that's going under the words you write, okay? But notice it didn't apply it to the text that I've already written, okay? Now, if I write a new sentence, it's gonna be underlined, okay? For example, okay? If I select the text and deselect the underline tag, it removes the line, okay? We can also write in italics. We can make the text bold. Doesn't work for this font because this font is already using bold, okay? Let's try a different font so that the difference would be more apparent. Let's go with Calibri, the original line. Now, if I click on the B, which is short for bold, the text becomes bold, okay? But only because I selected the text before I clicked on the bold tag, okay? So here we have different styles or different changes we can apply. For example, the A's here are for increasing and decreasing the font size. Let's say they are short for increasing and decreasing, okay? Let's say, for example, I want to change it manually to 20. We can just write 20 in the size box, in the font size box, or we can just increase it or decrease it through these shortcuts right here, okay, until we arrive at the appropriate size. Now for example, let's say I want to center the text. We simply click on these text alignment shortcuts. Align left, center, align right, or justify, okay? Let's return to the normal way. Now, for example, if I want to write a list of some sort, for example, of 6 continents, for example, and then what you have to do is to choose a style of a bulleted list or a numbered list. You can choose one of them, okay? Or you can simply press or click on the arrow and then choose a style for your list, okay? Like so, or like this, okay? It gives you different options so you can customize your document, okay? Now let's go with a numbered list. Let's go with this one, okay? We first have Africa, North, and so on, okay? We don't have to finish the list. South America, Oceania, and Antarctica, okay? Now, this is simply an example uh, for you to use, okay? Like this. For example, if I want to change this style, I only have to go to one of the elements and then change the style, like so, okay? Now, you can also choose a bulleted list, which is a list that isn't numbered. It's simply a list. Choose style like this, and that's essentially what we can do here, okay, in the home tab. The essentials: you can use word art to further customize the font of your document, but I don't think it's professional, like so, okay? Now we move on to the insert tab, and here we can insert tables. Excuse me, we first have to deselect this and then go to insert. We can insert a table like so, and then here we can move the table, okay? Here we can, when we see this plus sign, we can add a row, for example. We can select a column or select a row, select a cell, as we can add columns to our table, like so, okay? Let's now move on to the more important stuff, which is pictures and shapes. Let's start with pictures as they are simpler, okay? We go to the insert tab and then select pictures, and now it gives us a window so we can choose a picture from our own computer, okay? Let's, for example, choose this one. We can flip it around just by grabbing this circular thingy right here, as we can resize the picture, okay? The way we can resize the picture is to grab one of these white dots right here and drag like so. For example, when we see these this cross looking shape here, when we click anywhere but the white dots, we can move the image. Okay, we can move our image where we want. Just a second. Now, for the pictures, we can do a variety of things. We can also insert, for example, insert a text box, okay? Let's choose a style for a text box. Let's choose a simple text box. We can modify a picture, and we can also, let's get rid of this one to show you the other choices we have. We can also insert an online picture. Okay, let's choose this option. Now what it gives us a window to do a Bing search. Okay, let's search, for example, let's go with for example, it gives us results, internet results of what we've searched for. Okay, oh, an error occurred when we're trying to import this picture. Okay, let's do another try. Let's delete the search box and let's go with an online picture. Okay, for example, you can type whatever you want. Oh, the error, I think it's because of this. Okay, okay, the reason it didn't work because the picture was because the list I haven't closed the list yet. It was still waiting for another element, like so. Okay, as you've seen here, we've inserted an online picture. We can also, which is the most important thing that we can work with in Word, we can insert shapes. Okay, we can insert a text box. What is a text box? It's a box that you can type in. Okay, for example. Okay, we can resize the text box. We can relocate the text box wherever we want. Okay, we can delete the text box. We can insert normal shapes. Let's go, for example, with this shape right here. Okay, now we can change the color of the shape. We can make it transparent, like so, or we can simply choose another color, like so. We can also add text to a shape. This resembles a rectangle. Okay, we can edit the text like so. Let's make it bigger. We can also change the size of the shape, same with the picture. Okay, now the thing we can do with shapes is we can group them together. For example, here, let's go to the insert tab. Let's insert another shape. Let's make it an arrow pointing down. Okay, what if I want to join these two shapes together? I press on Control on my keyboard while selecting a shape, and then notice here I have a little plus sign besides my mouse cursor. Okay, we select the other shape. Now both of the shapes are selected. We right click and then go to the group option. Okay, now these two shapes are grouped as a single shape. Now if I move a larger shape, notice the second shape moves along with it. Okay, and if I want to go back to the previous state, okay, we just right click on the shape and choose ungroup. Okay, now each of them should come off. So, like so. Okay, now each shape is independent from the other. Okay, let's, for example, go back. You shouldn't be concerned with this tab design. Let's go to the layout tab. Let's clear everything up. Let's delete everything. Delete. Okay, now the layout tab allows us to modify certain things like margins. For example, we can make the margins now narrower. Notice that the cursor used to be here. When I shrink the margins, it got closer to the edge of the paper. Okay, we can go back to the original size. We can change the orientation of the paper to portrait or landscape, like so. We can change the size of the paper. We can add columns to the paper. For example, let's go with 2 columns. Let's change the orientation back to portrait, and then let's choose 2 columns. Now what this means is, for example, let's keep writing. Notice here it went back to another line. It did a line break halfway through the paper, just because when, for example, when we're finished with this size, with this side, I'm sorry, it goes back to the second half of the paper and starts from the top. Okay, it this is how you write, what do you call them, journals, yes. Let's go back to a single column. Here we can do page breaks, meaning move to another page. Okay, we can enumerate the lines. Also, before I forget, for example, if you want to insert page numbers, you go to the insert tab, and then here what you have is page number. Then you choose top of the page, bottom of the page, page margin. It You should stick with the default, which is bottom of the page. For example, this is page 3, this is page 2, this is page 1. Okay, let's close the header and footer before we continue. Now the document is enumerated. Okay, now let's go with another document. Let's open another document. Is it this one? Okay, let's go with this one. Okay, now we move back to the home tab, and let's talk about the styles. Okay, now we have the normal style, we have no space and style. What concerns us is these styles, the heading styles. Okay, we have heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, and so on. Okay, so the heading 1 style should be associated to chapters in your memoir. For example, let's go with a memoir. The heading 2 style should be associated with sections, the heading 3 with subsections, and so on. Okay, here we have chapter 1, which is written using the heading 1 style. Okay, section 1, which is written using heading 2 style. Okay, we have chapter 2, which isn't referenced here because it's written in a normal style. Okay, now if I change the style of this to heading 1, it should be referenced in the table of contents as a chapter, as a proper chapter. Okay, let's go now. Let's change it to chapter number 3. Okay, and this should be chapter number 4. Okay, now notice chapter 2, the uses of Microsoft Excel. Now this should change to chapter 2, Microsoft Excel, and then chapter 3 would be the uses of Microsoft Excel. Okay, let's select our table of contents and update the table. Let's update the entire table. Notice here that chapter 2 is named Microsoft Excel simply because I changed the style that the text is written in. Okay, so here, if for example we can also shrink the chapters if we want to further modify our document. Let's, for example, try and let's remove the table of contents. I will show you how to insert it. You go to the References tab and then choose Table of Contents. Okay, you should stick with table automatic table 1 or automatic table 2. You can also customize the table of contents. Now here we can choose the levels that should be referenced. Okay, the first level is for chapters, the second level is for sections, the third level is for subsections. It won't reference anything that's below that in hierarchy. For example, let's say we have a title that is a part of a subsection. Okay, it won't be referenced because the third level is subsection. Okay, it only references 3 levels. It only goes down 3 levels. We can increase it to 4. Okay, so notice here it gives us heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, meaning that all heading 2s are part of a heading 1 thingy. In our case it's a chapter. Okay, heading 3 is part of heading 2, heading 4 is part of a heading 3 hierarchy. Okay, let's go with the default. Let's, for example, insert a default table of contents like so. Okay, here we have our table of contents with page numbers and everything. Okay, whenever you make changes to your document, please make sure to update the table of contents. Okay, if you added chapters, sections, subsections, you should update the entire table. If for example you're only writing paragraphs and everything, you should only update page numbers only, because the page numbers can change if you edit your document. Okay, let's say for example you inserted a picture in the middle of a paragraph. The paragraph can go to the next page, and it would essentially your table of contents wouldn't be correct if you do that. Okay, so whenever you're done making changes to your document, you should go back up to your table of contents and update the table. Okay, so this is what we've seen about Microsoft Word. Do you guys have any questions about Microsoft Word?
No, sir, we don't. Everything is clear, thank you.
Okay, okay, so now we can move on to Microsoft Excel. Okay, let's move on to Microsoft Excel. Let's open Microsoft Excel. Here it is. Here we can go to the document that we've worked on previously. Okay, so in Excel, the use of Excel is essentially functions and calculations. Okay, let's open a new workbook. Now let's talk about the basics. Okay, these elements in Microsoft Excel are called cells. Okay, they are called cells. Now these cells can be resized. For example, if we grab the first column, the edge of the first column, and drag it like so, we can increase the size of the column A. Okay, same thing with lines. Okay, we grab the edge and then we resize like so. Okay, now tables in Excel are much more practical and much more useful than tables in Microsoft Word. Okay, for example, let's make a table. For example, we only have to click and drag across. until we arrive at the desired size of our table. Okay, let's say I want a table of this size. Okay, now once we've selected the table, in the home tab, notice here we have a button that says bottom border. Okay, it's a drop down menu. We don't only want the bottom border to be underlined. Okay, we want all the borders, so we simply click on all borders and it draws our table for us. Okay, now we can write whatever we want. We can align text. Same with Word, same with Microsoft Word. Notice that we have most of the same options. Okay, bold, italic, underline. Okay, we can increase the size, we can change the font. Same with Microsoft Word. Okay, now here notice that we have a different option, merge and center. Let's say, for example, let's see what this does. Let's select a bunch of cells from our table and then click on merge and center. Now what this does is it merges the cells in a table and then centers the cursor. So whenever you write text, it writes it in the center of the cell. Okay, not in the beginning of the cell, like this. Okay, so the use of Excel is, notice here we have the same options, or most of the same options as Microsoft Word. We can insert pictures, we can insert shapes, like so. Same thing, okay, but uh, they aren't really useful. So to see the use of Microsoft Excel, we have to go with another file, like so. Now if you remember, this file was created in our first Excel course. Okay, I created this file. What we did here, we created a table, we filled that table, and then we introduced our function. Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen it before, this is essentially a grades calculator. Okay, it gives you a decision, either you're najih or rasib. Okay, in Arabic. Now the grades are calculated like this. Okay, let's for example go to one of the grades. Now here, notice here in the f of x section of the document, we have this cell is the sum of B2, which is this cell B2 is the intersection between the column B and the line 2, B2, times 0.2 plus C2 times 0.2 plus D2 times 0.6. This gives us the final grade. Okay, now notice if I, for example, change anything here, for example, let's give him 18 here, or 15, let's go with 15. Now if I move to a different cell, the function is recalculated, okay, using the new data. Here the result is 19. It's still ناجح. Now notice here the decision which is ناجح or راسب depends on the value of E2, which is this cell right here, which is E, the intersection between the column E and the line number 2, okay? 19. Now this decision, let's for example go to another one. Let's go to this right here. Let's give him an 8 and watch how this cell changes. And once this cell changes, the decision function here changes to rasib. Okay, here once the grade is below 10, it writes rasib. Okay, so let's for example do the functions.
Sir, sir,
Yes.
why is that?
Oh, so let's first take an overview of what functions in Excel are, and then hopefully you'll understand why the cell changed like so. Okay, so here, if you select a cell, for example, let's do simple math, 5 plus 5. Let's click on enter. Nothing changes because it takes it as plain text. Now if we use an equal sign and then 5 plus 5, it takes it as an arithmetic operation. Okay, it calculates the result of the of what I've written of the arithmetic operation. Okay, let's go for example 2 times 2. Nothing changes, but if I write equal sign and then 2 times 2 gives us 4. Okay, now let's do it in function, as a function. Okay, let's go with equals, and then notice when I wrote the first letter, it gave me a list of all the functions that start with that letter. Okay, let's go for example, let's insert here. We can also insert in this top corner. Okay, or we can just simply click here and let's go with sum, and then when I write sum I can for example choose the participating cells in this function. Okay, number 1 for example, let's choose for D14. Number 2, let's choose 14, and then if you use for example control to select multiple cells. Okay, I can select multiple cells like so, and then it gives us the sum of these numbers. Okay, you can write it manually. Here we have the sum of D12, D14, D8 and D4, each of them separated by a comma. Okay, for example, here we have the sum. For example, let's go with substitute. Let's substitute for example C8 and D8. let's go C8 and D8, comma D8. What this should do is it goes to C8, which is 12. It subtracts 9 from 12, which should give us 3. Oh, okay. Oh, it isn't the right function. Okay. So let's try, for example, if you want to do this, for example, let's go with C8, D8, C8, for example, minus D8. It gives us 3, okay? So the most important function in Excel is the if function, okay? So is everything clear?
مانيش عارفة إيه ما أنا ديك فاتت نكمل قالك راح نديرو written وكان نرجعو من الفيديوز و that's it.
So if you're talking about the exam, it will be written because I don't think that we can do a practical exam because you're too numerous, okay? So the exam,
Concerning the exam,
yes.
concerning the exam, are we going to have some pictures and we are asked to name each picture, each symbol,
So
I guess?
I haven't yet decided on how the exam should be. Maybe it would be a yes or no questions mixed in with some, for example, let's say how to insert a table of contents. For example, we go to the reference tab and then table of contents. Uh,
Yeah, mention the steps.
yes, I will try to provide you with pictures if I can. That would make things easier for you, your answers, okay? And um, 3 free days. When do you have 3 days?
Sir, if I can ask you, what's like the time?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I guess the 4 days we are in the modules, like we cannot like in the first, like,
I'm
we
not.
cannot have in the very first like days from 27
So
because you are having each exam after the other. Like,
okay. So how about we do it dead last, okay? The last exam you'll take will be mine. How about that? Does this arrangement work for you or not?
We have three
We
days.
have 3 days before the last day. We have 3 days.
Oh,
No,
okay,
the
okay.
first week. No, it's in the first week, 31st May. Then we
Yes,
have three free days. We can do it after the 31st May.
of May. Okay, so I'll
Yes.
have to first discuss that with Miss Baybumzrag first, and if it is possible, yes, if it works for everybody, then I don't see why not. Okay, so the exam,
Sir,
yes,
I just heard.
Is the PowerPoint included in the exam?
Yes, it is.
Why did you publish it? Neil.
What do you mean?
Sorry, sir. I was just answering Leila. I mean, why did you publish it if we are not going to use it?
Yes.
Just like
So it should be included
obviously.
in the exam, but if you can follow along with the videos, then you should be fine. Okay. I'm not gonna make an exam that's overly complicated. Okay. So if you can follow along in from the videos, you should be a-okay. Okay, and I'm not. I apologize, but I'm not done preparing the presentations for Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint. I'm not yet done with them. I don't have much free time, actually, but if I can get around to finishing them, and then I will send them to you, and you will have an easier time preparing. Okay?
Yes, sir.
If
I
you
guess, sir,
want,
like our delegate,
yes.
like will send you our timetable so you can have like a look.
Okay, fantastic. And if you
Yeah.
want, if you want, we can do another session detailing what we've seen with Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint, just like we've done here with Microsoft Word, to help you prepare for the exam. What do you say?
Yeah, it would be amazing for me. Like,
Okay, okay. So will send me your exam table, your timetable, and then I will try to choose a time that's appropriate and works for everybody. How about this? What do you
So
say?
I guess it's after May 31st because we have a module that we don't need to revise. So it's going to be fantastic
Okay,
if we had this
so
exam before 31st.
okay.
After.
So
Sir,
no, don't mention it. You're very welcome. Okay. So and if you have any questions that you essentially, for example, let's say you forgot a question or remembered it later, or you can contact me via email. Okay.
sir,
Yes.
concerning the exam,
Yes.
the department has to choose the day, not us.
Oh. Okay, yes,
Because, yeah,
I told you that I have to discuss it with your department chief. Okay.
yes, because there is a problem of amphitheaters.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
You know that there aren't many spaces that are available
Yes,
in school.
exactly.
Yes. So this is an ongoing problem, and we should work around it. Essentially, the final session shouldn't be a problem because I can stream it from home. But about your exam, I'll have to discuss this with your department chief, and she would be the one to decide. Okay?
yeah, sure thing.
Okay. So, Miss Ishraq, please send me your exam table
Yes,
so
of
I can
course.
program another session so we can summarize what we've seen with Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint. Okay?
Okay,
Because
sir.
time this session is not enough to see what we've done with Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint. So we'll have to do another session to just to prepare. Okay. And for those of you
Yes.
who can't attend, I will record everything and upload everything to YouTube. Okay, so you can watch at your leisure. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So once I program the last session, I will contact you. Okay. No problem.
Yes.
No problem.
Yes.
Okay, so we meet again in the next session. Okay, goodbye.
Yes.
And
Thank you, sir.
okay, you're welcome.